I signed that paper before I could even fully understand its meaning. There are signatures. Not meant to start something new, but to accept that. From that moment on, there is no turning back. This is a story that begins with a signature like that. Episode 1. I was 24 when I signed that paper. No beautiful dress. No flowers. Just a small office in the district court. The paper stated clearly, I was the legal guardian of 3 children. My 3 siblings sat out in the hallway. The oldest was 12. The youngest was only 5. My mother wasn't there. She was somewhere else. Maybe in a rented room. Maybe in a hospital. Or maybe, I didn't want to think further. They asked me if I was sure. I nodded. Not because I was sure, but because there was no one else. I still remember that evening clearly. The small apartment. 3 backpacks against the wall. A mess of children's shoes. I stood in the middle of the room. I didn't know where to start. I had never been a mother. Never raised anyone. I only knew I was their big sister. That night, the little one cried for mom. The middle one stayed silent. The oldest looked at me with eyes full of both anger and fear. I sat on the floor, back against the wall, feeling so tired I couldn't even take a deep breath. I thought, I'll just try for a little while. I didn't know that little while would last nearly 20 years. I grew up faster than my age. Some people aren't allowed to grow up slowly, while others are still learning how to live for themselves. They already have to learn how to carry others on their shoulders. This is the period of life where age couldn't keep up with responsibility. Episode 2. From then on, my life was split into 2 parts. By day, I worked. By night, I was a mother. I worked as a server in a diner. Morning shifts. Evening shifts. Some days, double shifts. The money wasn't much, but it was steady. I learned how to count every penny. Learned to buy things on sale. Learned to say, maybe next time, to myself. In the evenings, I checked homework, cooked meals, cleaned the house. Some days I fell asleep at the table, waking up at 2 a.m. The room was terrifyingly quiet. I remember once looking in the mirror, seeing premature gray hair, pale skin, dark circles under my eyes. I was only in my 20s, but my body was no longer young. My friends went out. They dated. They traveled. I left work early to pick up my siblings. I turned down dates. Gradually, no one invited me anymore. There were nights I was irritable, screaming over tiny things. Then I would sit down, hold my head, and cry. My biggest fear was seeing myself becoming like my mother. But the next morning, I still woke up early, still prepared breakfast, still tied the little one's hair. I didn't feel like a hero. I just felt. I wasn't allowed to collapse. There are sacrifices with no name. Not every sacrifice has a witness. There are years that pass by so quietly that even the person involved forgets what they have traded away. Episode 3. The years passed quickly. So quickly that I don't remember clearly how many things I left behind. I had no wedding. No photos to remember my youth. No love stories to tell. What I had were parent-teacher meetings. Nights waiting for them to come home late. Times sitting outside the emergency room. The oldest started to rebel, arguing with me, saying I wasn't his mother. That sentence silenced me. Not because he was wrong, but because he was right. Some nights I sat in the car, hands on the steering wheel, engine off, not going home. I thought, what if I just ran away once? That thought scared me and made me ashamed. Then I remembered the 3 backpacks from years ago. Remembered the eyes of the 3 children in the court hallway. I turned the car around and went home. No one acknowledged those years. No one gave out certificates. No one named my sacrifice. Only the children growing up, bit by bit, and a big sister, aging before she even knew it. When the siblings left one by one, I didn't know who I was anymore. When someone lives too long. For others, the moment they are no longer needed, they suddenly don't know how to keep living. This is the void that very few are prepared for. Episode 4. The day the oldest moved out. I stood in the kitchen for a long time. The house suddenly felt huge. So huge that I felt cold. He hugged me, said he'd come visit, told me not to worry. I smiled, nodded, like I always did. But when the door closed, I didn't know what to do next. I still woke up early, still cooked, then suddenly remembered. No one needed that breakfast anymore. One by one, and then one more. They left. The house emptied out. The familiar sounds disappeared. No more arguing. No more voices calling, "Big sis." I sat in the living room. Lights off. Only the sound of the wall clock. I realized, for 20 years, I had lived for the needs of others. Now, with no one needing me, I was empty. Friends asked if I planned to think about myself yet. I couldn't answer. I didn't know what I liked. Didn't know how I wanted to live. I only knew how to take care of others. Some nights I opened the fridge, stood looking for a long time, then closed it. I wasn't hungry. I just wasn't used to being alone. For the first time in my life, I was afraid of the silence. I traded my entire youth to keep a family whole. There are choices in life that don't lead to a brilliant life. But without that choice, there might not have been a family to return to. This is the conclusion of a journey of very late maturity. Episode 5. The day the youngest graduated. I sat in the back row, watching her walk across the stage. She was grown up now, taller than me, confident, no longer the 5-year-old child from back then. The three of them stood together for photos. They laughed. I stood beside them, not knowing where I belonged in the frame. That night, all three called me Mom once, very softly, as if afraid I wouldn't hear. I turned away. I didn't want them to see me cry. Later, they had their own lives, jobs, families. I moved into a smaller apartment. 1 bedroom, 1 window. In the evenings, I often sit by that window, watching the car lights on the street below. Someone asked me if I regretted it. Regretted not getting married. Regretted not living for myself. I thought for a long time. I thought of the sleepless nights, the hurried meals, the time signing papers in silence. Then I thought of the 3 children, who didn't have to grow up alone, didn't have to sleep in fear, didn't have to repeat the path of their mother. I don't call it a sacrifice. I just call it a choice. Lived to its very end. I matured late. Very late. But there is one thing I know for sure. I kept a family from breaking once more. And for me, that is enough. We're more than just viewers, we're companions. Subscribe so we don't lose touch.